Alright, I want to talk about this CZ-75 SP-01 Tactical. I've had this for a couple of years and I just hit 2,000 rounds through it, so figured it was time for a video on it. First of all, obviously, nothing in the chamber, empty, and all those magazines are empty too. In fact, I'll start by talking a little bit about these magazines, because the only issue I ever had with the firearm was in the first couple of months. One of these factory mags, and you can tell the difference because they have a different base plate on it. Well, they're different finish too, but CZ logo on the bottom of them. They're 18 round magazines. One of these had a tendency to want to nosedive the second round in the magazine when it was fully loaded. That was early on. So you'd chamber around, you'd shoot, your first or your second shot, but on your first recoil, the pistol had a tendency to want to nosedive that second 9mm round into this magazine, which would cause a stoppage. You'd have to pop the mag out and rechamber around. So what happened is I contacted CZ. They offered to have me send the magazine back. I went ahead and marked the magazine with a sticker and tried to, and I didn't want to wait like 6 weeks or what it was going to take for a replacement magazine. So I marked one of the magazines, the one that was giving me the problems, and just kept track of it, and eventually it stopped doing that. So no issues now. It's fine. Must have been an issue with a weak, or not a weak, but a maybe some sort of burr inside the magazine, or maybe the magazine spring was too strong or something, or I don't know. Just a brand new magazine with a brand new spring. Who knows? It needed to be broken, I guess. That being said, these mec-gar mags, I bought these on I can't remember what website. They're like 50 bucks a piece though. These are great. I prefer these to the factory mags. The blue follower, they have this matte surface to them, which they go in and out of the mag well a lot smoother to me than the factory ones. They're great mags. They're 17 rounders. They come with these the +2 extension on it, so it actually turns out to be a 19 round mag. So they have an extra round in them over the factory mag, which that's kind of cool, I guess, right? But yeah, these mec-gar ones are really well made. I like those a lot better than the factory. All right, getting to the pistol. So, like I said, I just hit 2,000 rounds. Oh, before we get started, you might be able to tell, if you're a CZ person, that this has a aftermarket hammer on it. So let's talk about that a little bit. CZs are fairly well known for having, well, I'm not gonna say bad, but mediocre triggers out of the box. This pistol was no exception to that. Out of the box, I think it was about just under 5 pounds, a single action pull. The double action was, you couldn't even weigh it, and it was, it stacked and was just horrible. But the single action pull was not horrible at just under 5 pounds, but it had a lot of grit and creep. You'd get to the break point on the single action, and you'd be able to sit there and pull it back and forth and watch the actual hammer move back slightly before it would release. Obviously, it doesn't do that anymore. So I had read online about some issues with these triggers, so I expected it to be like that. I figured, well, before I add any upgraded parts to it, I'm going to shoot about 1,000 rounds through it, which I did. And that didn't seem to do a whole lot. It lightened up the trigger some, down to about 4.5 pounds. However, it didn't really take care of any of that grit or creep that was in the trigger. And it was fine, still an okay trigger, but I wanted it to be, I wanted to see what you could really achieve with one of these pistols as far as trigger goes. So I ordered some parts from Cajun Gunworks. This hammer, I think that was about $95. That was the most expensive part. Also got a hammer spring, firing pin spring, and firing pin safety spring kit, which is all reduced power. I bought an extended firing pin and a new firing pin roll pin, firing pin retaining pin, or whatever they call it. It's the actual pin that holds the firing pin in the firearm. That's all I did to this trigger. However, I did not install the short reset kit, which I'm considering doing. because here, I'll show you. The brake is really crisp, really crisp. There's the brake. Now the reset is quite a ways out, and then once it resets, you just heard it click, you have a little bit more take up again before the brake. So I'll show you that again. There's your brake. There's your reset. There's a little more take up. Now, it's hard to complain about that. It's not horrible, but I'd like a nice short. It's such a crisp, wonderful trigger now with those Cajun Gunworks parts that I'd like to have a shorter reset. And those who don't know, the SP-01 tactical version has a decock rather than a thumb safety. The standard SP-01, excuse me, knock the camera around there, has a thumb safety right here instead of a decocker. So, decock leaves it in a half cock position. You can do a double action pull. Like I said, the double action pull was horrible at first. Now it's buttery smooth. And it weighs just under 8 pounds. Alright, let me show you the single action pull here. Take my trigger gauge here. And 3 1/4. Try that one more time. That's consistently where it pulls is 3 1/4. Show you one more time here. In fact, I'll pull over here so you can actually watch the gauge go. If you'll be able to see it. Alright, here we go. And that was... oh, wow, that was closer to 3. Let's see, let's try it one more time. Set that. Alright. Three 3 1/4. Focus. Wow, just over 3 1/4. Anyway, so as you can tell, it's consistently 3 1/4. I've done it, you know, a dozen times in a row before and gotten it to, it's always within a couple of percentage or a couple of decimal points of 3.25, so 3 1/4. So let's talk about this pistol here. In fact, I'm going to take it apart. One of the interesting things about CZs, they don't come apart like a Glock or a SIG. They more come apart sort of like a 1911. You have to line up these two takedown dots or marks, wherever they are, right there, and then usually just get like a magazine right here and just kind of go whack right on the side. That pushes the slide stop out. You can pull that whole thing out, and then the slide just comes right off the frame like that. And interesting thing about CZs, as most people probably know, the frame rails or the slide rides inside the frame. The slide and frame rails are the entire length of the slide and frame. And I think this is the actual, I think this is the same, basically the same slide that you'd find on a regular CZ-75. The difference between a CZ-75 and a CZ-75 SP-01 pistol is the full length dust cover here and then the rail. And this is a full steel frame. It's not alloy. It's not, you know, polymer. They make different types of frames, but this is an actual steel frame pistol. Steel frame, steel slide, all the parts are steel. And it's heavy. I think it's like 3 pounds when it's fully loaded. Alright, so it has a flat recoil spring and a polymer guide rod. Pretty basic. The barrel has locking lugs that are similar to that of a 1911. It's just kind of like, I guess, a cross between a 1911 and a SIG or something like that, you know. So you can see the wear on this from 2,000 rounds. Starting to get a little bit of wear on the feed ramp there. The barrel lug and the locking lugs and the barrel itself are definitely showing signs of use. Lots and lots of life left in this pistol. It's a remarkably accurate pistol, and it fits together very tight. It's just a well-made firearm. Really impressed with CZ. I don't know if I mentioned, but this was my first CZ pistol. And I was actually shopping online looking for a SIG P226. I think it was the TAC Ops version. And they're like $1,000 or right in the neighborhood of there. They were at the time. And I was having a hard time finding them in stock. And I came across this, started hearing about the CZ-75 SP-01 and was reading online a little bit about it. And it's, they have quite a cult following. In fact, CZs in general have a cult following. I mean, people that are into them typically know their firearms and are very passionate about CZs. So I thought, well, you know what? I never even saw one at a gun store before. I've been to a lot of gun stores. Never saw a CZ, an actual CZ. I mean, I've seen plenty of the knockoffs, the EAAs and the Tag Foglios, or however you pronounce them, some of the TriStars, and a lot of, even the Baby Eagle. Those are all knockoffs of the CZ-75. I don't want to call it a knockoff. They're basically the CZ-75 design. There's no patent on that. So I believe, and I don't know, don't quote me on that, but there's a lot of companies that make a CZ-75 style pistol. But suffice it to say, I thought, you know what, I'm going to get an actual CZ and see what this thing's all about. Man, was I pleased with this pistol. It is such a good shooter. And I've since bought a CZ-P-09, and I'm on my short list is the CZ-P-10C. I'm kind of hooked on CZs now. They're just great pistols. I've shot a lot of pistols, and these are just wonderful. Soft shooting, soft recoiling, very flat shooting, well made, just great. A great feeling gun. These grips. A lot of people talk about the grips. This is just the standard factory grips that come on these, but there's something about the grip on a CZ-75. The way that it fits your hand is. You just have to hold one to feel it, Anyway, I can't say enough good about the CZ-75, especially the SP-01 Tactical. It's such a... I'm actually kind of jonesing to go out and shoot it right now, just playing with it. Alright, well, I'm going to close out by just doing some close-ups along the gun. You can see a lot of people don't like that curved trigger, too. I actually don't mind it. It's comfortable. Pretty comfy. So, muzzle. Oh, by the way, these come with True Dot night sights as well. Let's see if I can focus on that. I don't think it wants to focus. Come on. Huh, I guess it's not. What the heck's wrong with this thing? There we go. So a little bit more close-ups. The decock has an external extractor. It's made in the Czech Republic, but imported through CZ USA in Kansas City, Kansas. It does have like a typical Eastern European style pistol. It has the proof marks on it and the serial number on the slide, frame, and barrel. You'll find that on all your Eastern European guns, at least the ones that are manufactured there. What else to say here about it? Mag release. I believe the mag release is reversible. Most are. See, that comes out. Probably swap those parts around. It's a very heavy firearm. It has a little bit of texturing on the front of the front strap here, and a little bit just like that on the back, a little bit more I'd say on the back. But what makes the grip unique is this palm swell in here and these thumb grooves. Just the way that the ergonomics of it, it's hard to explain, but it's got its own feel. Nothing quite feels like a CZ pistol, and it's kind of one of their trademarks, and it's just such a comfortable feeling pistol. Really, really fits in your hand nicely. can't think of anything else to say. Any questions, ask. Oh, look at that. I never noticed, but the front sight is roll pin is actually installed with a roll pin. That's kind of interesting. Any other questions? Ask, and happy shooting. Thanks for watching.